Hello and warm regards from NEXT IAS team. Welcome to another episode of Daily News Analysis. Today is 14 July and let's see the topics that we are having for today. The first topic is about the ordinary residents, which is in news. Why? Because Election Commission is having a special drive in Bihar regarding the electoral rolls. It is revising its electoral rolls and it is now being said that this special drive will be happening in the whole country. So in that context, we are going to see the ordinary residents that is becoming a bone of contention for this particular drive. Now, second topic is about the open systems, open ecosystems, that what are the open ecosystems, what approach India is taking and how that approach is not a correct approach from the ecological point of view and what approach we should be taking. Then third topic is about the nomination to the Rajya Sabha. 4 new members have been nominated to Rajya Sabha and we are going to see the constitutional provisions that are there and the process through which the nomination is being done. Then fourth is about the Talisman Sabre, that is one military exercise done by Australia. What is the significance of this exercise and what are the other exercises that are happening between India and Australia. And lastly, in the decoded section, we are going to discuss about the carbon credit system that is in India. A new system has been placed and what are the various loopholes and what are the various criticisms of that system and what should be done regarding the system, what way forward we should be taking. So let's start with the first topic, that is the ordinary residents. The first topic that we are having today is who are qualified as ordinarily residents. Now, this topic in the backdrop that Election Commission of India has initiated a special intensive revision of the Bihar electoral rules, and this topic becomes relevant from GS paper 2 in the elections topic. Now, let's see about the news. As Election Commission of India has initiated a special intensive revision of the Bihar electoral rules, it has actually triggered a debate on the interpretation of the term ordinary resident that is provided in the RPA Act of 1950, and this is for voter registration. One more thing is there, that the registration of electoral rules of 1960, these are notified by the central government on the advice or in consultation with the Election Commission. These rules govern the inclusion and exclusion of the electoral rules. Now, what is the problem with this term ordinary residents? The term ordinary resident is basically provided under section 19 and it defines that the ordinary resident will be eligible to apply for the preparation in the electoral rules. So जब भी हम लोग electoral rules को prepare करेंगे, so we are going to see who are the ordinary residents of that particular area. Only those who are ordinary residents of that particular area will be eligible to be included in the electoral rules. Now, it says that a person is deemed to be ordinary resident in a constituency if they reside there or intend to reside there even if they are temporarily absent. Temporarily absent का मतलब ये है कि for a brief period of time they are not there in that particular area, but they are residing in that area and they are trying to come back to that area. So those will be known as ordinary residents. Now, section 22 provides that the ordinary residents will be eligible for electoral registration, and it says that if you are having a land or a home in a particular area, that does not make you eligible to be an ordinary resident of that particular area. To be eligible as an ordinary resident, you must be residing in that area. So that is the condition that is given. So if a person has bought a home in Himachal Pradesh, that doesn't mean that he will be included in the voter list of that particular area. To be included in the voter list of that particular area, he has to reside there. He should be living there. There are some relaxations also. For example, with respect to armed forces and state police, central government employees and constitutional office holders, if they are working for these particular organizations, then they will be relaxed from this particular norm, because they will be posted outside their resident area. So in that case, they have been given a relaxation in terms of ordinary resident conditionalities. Now, third thing is the section 20A of the RPA. This was added in 2010 and it basically targets the NRIs, non-resident Indians, those who are not living in India. It says that they will be eligible to be included in the electoral rolls and they can vote if they are present in the country. So a special provision was made for the people who are now residing in different countries and are still citizens of India. For them, section 20A was introduced. Now, the problem with this term of ordinary resident is that India, almost 11% of our population is migrant worker, that is around 15 crores. Now, when these migrant workers are moving out to earn their livelihood, then they actually become ineligible to be included in the electoral rolls of the resident state or city, and they are also not eligible to be included in the voter list of that particular state where they are migrating to. This special intensive revision will risk their name in the voter list and their right to vote. So that is the whole problem that we are encountering. कि जो लोग बिहार से अभी बाहर गए हैं माइग्रेट करके टू वर्क टू अर्न देयर लाइवलीहुड, it might risk, this special intensive revision might risk their exclusion from the voter list. So that is the challenge that is coming up, that is the issue that is being raised. Although Election Commission has taken certain steps to ensure that this doesn't happen. Now, next is the judicial interpretation. So, Guwahati High Court in Manmohan Singh case of 1999 has defined the term ordinary resident. It says that they are permanent, habitual and intended dwellers. Secondly, the person should be reasonably accepted by others as a resident. So, these two conditions were given by the Guwahati High Court in the Manmohan Singh case of 1999. Then existing special provisions include the service voters, NRIs and constitutional office bearers can retain voting rights in original constituencies despite their absence, that we have already discussed. The next thing comes is, what is the way forward? First of all, we should amend the RP Act or RER to protect the voting rights of migrant workers. Secondly, amend mechanisms to remove mechanisms for remote and absentee voters. Then use Aadhaar seeding to prevent multiple registrations and ensure inclusivity without compromising electoral ambiguity. Now, based upon the discussion, attempt this MCQ and post your answers in the comment box. The second topic that we are having is why India must recognize its open ecosystem. Now, this topic is in the backdrop that neglect of open ecosystems in India. Whatever policies we are framing, whatever schemes we are running, there is a neglect to the open ecosystems basic philosophy, basic role in the ecology. What we are doing is that हम deserts को मानते हैं कि ये कहीं ना कहीं barren lands हैं, and our drive is to afforest them, but we are neglecting the ecological significance of the desert itself. So we are going to see here what is the significance of deserts and wasteland, whatever we call, or basically the term open ecosystem will be more relevant and more appropriate term here, that ki hame what approach we should be taken to deal with the open ecosystem, how we should conserve them. Secondly, this topic is relevant from GS paper 3 in the ecology and environment section. So let's go about the news. The deserts are frequently perceived as a nature's failure, empty barren lands awaiting correction. So this idea that deserts are open barren lands, they need correction, they need afforestation, this has come from the colonial legacy. The mindset of ours is to make them green. So whatever efforts, whatever schemes that are being run, their objective has been to make the desert areas green. Our focus should be on land degradation. Deserts are naturally occurring ecosystems. They have their own biodiversity, they have their own role in the ecology. So we should be having a correct approach towards dealing with the deserts. We should be tackling the land desertification problem rather than converting the deserts into afforested areas. So that is what this article is dealing about. Now it says the mindset drives large-scale efforts to green them through afforestation, irrigation projects and climate intervention, reinforcing the misconception that deserts are damaged or incomplete ecosystem. So that's what this article is targeting, that our approach towards dealing with the deserts is not correct. It needs to be amended. The open ecosystems that we are talking about, these are non-forested ecosystems characterized by continuous ground layer of grasses, minimal and low tree cover like savannas, deserts, grasslands and shrubs. So shrublands, deserts, savannas, grasslands, these all include the open ecosystem. That means open ecosystem is having a non-forested areas. The tree line is very less there. The next is what is the significance of deserts. So deserts actually cover a large amount of our area. 1/3 of Earth's terrestrial surface is covered by the desert itself. Then the ecological importance is also there. It is itself a unique biodiversity. It is itself a unique ecosystem which supports unique biodiversity. Species like Great Indian Bustard, Caracal, Indian wolf, they live in the deserts. Then carbon storage. In the forest, the carbon storage is done above the ground. whereas in the deserts the carbon storage is done in the soil itself. That's why it makes them crucial for the climate mitigation even without large trees. Now, what does we mean by this carbon storage in the soil itself? Because the carbon is stored in the form of roots and other things which are below the earth's surface. So that's why they become very important in terms of carbon sequestration. Then livelihood support is there. There are many pastoralist communities, there are many herding communities which are dependent upon these open areas like grasslands and wastelands. So Dangar, Rabari, Kurubo, they depend on these landscapes for grazing and survival. Then cultural importance is also there. They have distinct human cultures that have adapted to extreme conditions over centuries. Rajasthan is having their own tradition, their own food habits, their own food, own clothing habits, own traditions. So these traditions have been adapted due to the harsh environment in which they are living. Then there have been a cradle of civilization also. Major civilizations like Mesopotamia and Egypt have aroused from these regions itself. Then innovation driver, these are innovation driver because harsh desert environments prompted the development of complex societies including advanced irrigation and survival technologies. So this is the significance of deserts. Now how we are neglecting the deserts? First of all, India has glorified the manicured open spaces. For example, in real estates we need open spaces, but we are neglecting the natural open ecosystems like grasslands, savannas, shrublands and open woodlands. So that we are neglecting. So we are neglecting the natural open spaces and we are creating or we are cherishing the ecosystem that are in these real estate areas. Then mislabeled as wastelands. These are millions of hectares are officially mapped as wastelands, and this is a colonial legacy implying that they need to be fixed through afforestation, agriculture and industrial use. Then threat from misguided intervention. Converting grasslands into forest or fencing them harms ecology and livelihood, disrupting the mobility, traditional knowledge and ecosystem stewardship. The lack of policy support is also there. Despite their ecological and social value, grasslands and pastoralist systems lack legal protection and policy recognition in the country. So these are the major challenges with respect to open ecosystems. Then what should be done? We should respect the natural ecosystem, stop trying to convert deserts into forests, instead understand how ecosystems thrive with limited resources. So they should be appreciated. Secondly, address the land degradation sensibly. So we should be addressing the problem of land degradation, not the open ecosystems. So open ecosystem is not a problem. The problem is land degradation. The land is getting degraded due to human activities as well as due to climate change. So restore the drylands and should be in native vegetation. That restoration of the dryland should be done with the native vegetation. The focus should be on soil and moisture conservation. Then use of indigenous knowledge system should be there. We need to promote low-tech proven solutions like water harvesting, rotational grazing, protection of natural regrowth. They should often outperform mass tree planting and greenwashing projects. The next is what is the road ahead here. So policy shift is required here. Recognize the diversity of and value of the open ecosystems, incentivize soil carbon storage, support pastoralist land use practices and local stewardship. Reframe the narrative. For example, the narrative that we are having today is World Day to combat desertification and drought. It should be World Day to combat land degradation. So instead of de-desertification, we should be focusing upon land degradation. Restore and respect the legitimacy of the desert ecosystem. So the importance, significance of desert ecosystem should be restored. Next is what are initiatives that the government is taking in this regard, in the regard of the land degradation and de-desertification. So desert development program is there. It was launched in 1977-78. Its objective was to combat desertification and drought by promoting soil conservation, water harvesting, afforestation and livelihood development. So afforestation के ऊपर जोर उस time भी था. Then National Afforestation Program was there. It includes afforestation efforts in the arid and semi-arid regions, focusing on degraded and open lands, implemented by joint forest management committees. So again afforestation के ऊपर focus है. The National Mission on Sustaining Himalayan Ecosystem. In Himalayas also we are having deserts like Ladakh is there. So it aims to conserve the fragile ecosystem in cold desert regions of Ladakh with a focus on climate adaptation, biodiversity protection and local community participation. And lastly, National Biodiversity Action Plan. It recognizes the open natural ecosystems as like deserts, grasslands as critical habitats. So this National Biodiversity Plan is actually recognizing the significance of deserts as well as the grasslands and emphasizes their conservation. So it is focusing on conservation rather than afforestation through community-led approaches. Next is a very important thing is their National Action Program to combat desertification. This program was launched in 2001 by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. It was developed as a part of India's commitment to UNCCD. It aims to promote suitable land management. Then the objective was to combat desertification and land degradation in arid, semi-arid and dry subhumid regions. It integrates measures for soil conservation, water management and afforestation and sustainable agriculture. Then it promotes community participation, livelihood generation and use of indigenous knowledge. It mainstreams the desertification concerns into national development policies. The key components include watershed development, rainwater harvesting, soil fertility and erosion control, afforestation with drought-resistant species, livelihood diversification for vulnerable communities, then capacity building and awareness campaigns, and data monitoring and research on the land degradation trends. Now, next thing is the major deserts in deserts ecosystem in the country. So one is the Thar desert, and second is the Ladakh one. So Thar is a subtropical desert. It spans Rajasthan, Gujarat, Punjab and Haryana. The rainfall is less than 25 mm annually. It is a high temperature. In summers, the temperature exceeds 45 degrees Celsius. In winters, the temperature can fall to 5 degrees Celsius. So there is an extreme temperature range on you can say on the season basis, on annual basis as well as on the diurnal basis. The humidity is generally low throughout the year. It is cloudless and the sun rays are direct over this region. Second is what are the important plant species. So include khejri tree, which is a keystone species. Then there is cactus, acacia and babul and bear. Next, the fauna. One important one is great Indian bustard, which is critically endangered bird. Then Indian fox, desert cat, caracal, Indian wolf, chinkara and blackbuck. Blackbuck, I think you know, Salman Khan was implicated, or Salman Khan faced trial in the blackbuck killing. The next is the Ladakh desert. The Ladakh desert is a cold desert and it is located in Union Territory of Ladakh. It is a high altitude desert and a rain shadow region of the Himalayas. That's why that area is a desert. So desert doesn't mean that it cannot be cold. Desert simply means that whichever region is not having not having a rainfall, that is known as desert. So any area which is having a rainfall of less than 25 centimeter on annual basis is known as a desert. It is one of the coldest and driest regions in India, and it covers regions like Leh, Kargil, Janskar and Nubra Valley. The precipitation is often less than 10 centimeters annually, and it lies in the rain shadow areas of the Himalayas. The winter temperature can fall below to minus 20 degrees Celsius. Summer temperature may be between 20 to 25 degrees Celsius. The humidity is very low and it contributes to the aridity of this region. The next is the vegetation. Here it is alpine grass and shrubs, willows and poplar trees are also there. Sea buckthorn is also available there. Wild roses, then caragena and general adaptation in the plants is there. Next is animals and bird species which are there. Snow leopard, Tibetan wolf king ass is there, Himalayan blue sheep, then agrali, Tibetan wolf, black-necked crane, golden eagle, Himalayan giffron, wetland birds at Pangong, So and So Mori. Then based upon the discussion, you can attempt this MCQ and you can post your answers in the comment box. The third topic is about the nomination to the Rajya Sabha. Now, 4 members have been nominated to Rajya Sabha. They include Shingla, Nikam and 2 others nominated to the Rajya Sabha. So, that is the third news. Now, what is the backdrop here? The Prime Minister Modi has welcomed the nomination of the Rajya Sabha members, and this topic becomes relevant from GS2 in the Parliament. So, let's see about the news, then we are going to the constitutional provisions. The first one is that on July 13th, 2025, President Draupadi Murmu has nominated 4 distinguished individuals to Rajya Sabha to fill the vacancies caused by the retirement of the nominated members. Now, these nominations have been done under Article 81A and 83 of the Constitution, and they were notified by the Union Home Ministry. So, the order is given by the President, the nomination is done by the President, and the order is notified by the Home Ministry. Now, Rajya Sabha has 12 nominated members, and they are nominated on the basis of art, literature, science, and public service. Now, based upon this, the 4 vacant seats were now filled. The members include who have been nominated include Harshvardhan Singh Shringla. He was a former diplomat, a foreign secretary, and an IFS officer of 1984 batch. He served as ambassador to US High Commissioner to Bangladesh and ambassador to Thailand also. He was chief coordinator of the G20 summit of 2023. Next, another member is Ujjwal Nikam. He was a special prosecutor in the high-profile case of 26/11 of Mumbai attacks in 1991 Bombay blast. He is known for the legal work under TADA and contributions to the national security-related prosecutions. He has also tried to contest election into Lok Sabha in 2024, but now he has been nominated to the Rajya Sabha. He was also recognized as exemplary for his exemplary legal service and commitment to justice by our Prime Minister as well. Next person is Dr. Meenakshi Jain, who is associate professor at Gargi College in Delhi University. She is also a fellow of Nehru Memorial Museum and Library, ICHR and ICSSR. She was author of the book The Battle of Ram Sati, Flight of Deities, etc. She has also been a recipient of the Padma Shri Award for the contribution to literature and education. And lastly, C. Sadanand Master has been nominated. He was a school teacher and was attacked in a politically motivated attack in 1994. He contested 2021 the Kerala Assembly elections from Kuttapuramba, and he has been an active member of Bharati Vichar Kendram, which is a RSS think tank. So, he has also been nominated. Now, coming to the main point, the nomination to the Rajya Sabha. So, the nomination to the Rajya Sabha are done under Article 80. Article 80 provides for the composition of this Council of State. Council of State simply means Rajya Sabha. It says that 12 members will be nominated by the President and not more than 238 members are going to be elected by the state legislative assemblies. So, these are indirectly elected through the state legislative assemblies, and 12 members are going to be nominated by the President. Presently, 245 members are there, and the 12 members are nominated one, and rest are the elected ones. Now, next thing is there are no nominated members in Lok Sabha. Before 2020, there has to be 2 nominated members from the Anglo-Indian community. But by the 104th Amendment Act of 2019, this provision was discontinued. Now there is no special representation for the Anglo-Indian communities in the Lok Sabha. Similarly, there is this provision of nominating a one Anglo member to state legislative assembly has also been discontinued. So presently, the nominated members are in the Rajya Sabha or in the state legislative councils. Article 171 provides for the composition of the state legislative councils, and it says that governor can nominate 1/6 of its members. So nominated members we find only in Rajya Sabha and the state legislative councils. In Lok Sabha and state legislative assemblies, there are no more any nominated members. The Constitutional Amendment Act of 104 has actually removed this provision of nominating Anglo-Indians to the Lok Sabha and to this state legislative assemblies. Now, based upon the discussion, attempt this MCQ and post your answers in the comment box. The fourth topic is India participates in exercise Talisman Sabre of 2025. Now, the news backdrop is here that Australia may extend a formal invitation to India to join the Talisman Sabre 2023 during Defence Minister's expected visit to India. That is Australian's Defence Minister. Now, this topic becomes relevant from GS paper 3 in the defence exercises topic. Let's see about the news. India will join the exercise Talisman Sabre as hosted by Australia. This exercise Talisman Sabre is a multilateral military exercise primarily led by Australia and the United States. This is the 11th edition and it happens on biennial basis, that is every 2 years this exercise is conducted. So you should be knowing about this thing, that who conducts this exercise. It is Australia and led by USA. Secondly, it is a biennial exercise, that is, it happens in 2 years. It is the largest and the most complex war fighting drill ever conducted on Australian soil, and over 35,000 military personnel will be participating from 19 countries. It will be conducted for 3 weeks from July 13 to 13, 2025, and activities will be held in Queensland, Northern Territory, Western Australia, New South Wales, and Christmas Island. It is for the first time that exercise will also be extended to Papua New Guinea. So this country will also be participating. The countries include, the 9 active members include Australia, India, USA, Canada, Fiji, France, Germany, Indonesia, Japan, Netherlands, New Zealand, Norway, Papua New Guinea, Philippines, South Korea, Singapore, Thailand, Togo, and UK. The observer states are Malaysia and Thailand, and key activities will be like live fire drills, amphibious landing, ground force maneuvers, air combat maritime operations, field training, and force participation exercises. Next thing is, what are the other exercises that are conducted on same lines? The first exercise is exercise pitch black. This is again a multilateral, but this is an air combat exercise, and this is conducted by Royal Australian Air Force. It is again a biennial exercise, that is, it happens every 2 years, and Indian Air Force regularly takes part in this exercise. Its objective is to enhance the air combat interoperability and coordination among the participating nations. Then next is between India and Australia. There is a bilateral exercise known as Austra-Hind. This is a joint military exercise and conducted in the last exercise was conducted in Maharashtra in November 2024. Now, what are the other exercises that are conducted? The first one is Ox Index, that is bilateral naval exercise to improve interoperability between India and Australian navies. So it is between the Indian and Australian navies. The Austra-Hind is between the India and Navy military. So it is army exercise, the Austra-Hind. The Ox Index is a navy exercise between the two countries. The Austra-Hind is annual exercise, and Ox Index is a biennial, that is conducted every 2 years. Then Singa-X is there, which is a trilateral army exercise between India, Singapore, and Australian Army. Then Indo-Pacific Endeavour is there, which is again an annual exercise, and it is between Australia, India, and other Indo-Pacific partners. Then Malabar exercise is there, in which India, Australia, Japan, and USA participate. It is again an annual exercise conducted in the Indo-Pacific region for enhancing the maritime cooperation. Then one more exercise is there, exercise Sea Dragon. This is annual exercise. The participation is by India, Australia, Japan, and South Korea along with USA. So China is now been excluded in every of the exercises. It is a multilateral anti-submarine warfare drill enhancing undersea detection capabilities. Then last is Tarang Shakti. It is India's first multilateral air combat exercise with Australia as the participating nations. It was started in 2023. It will be a biennial exercise, that is, will be conducted every 2 years. Indian Air Force, Australia, and other invited Air Force will be participating in this Tarang Shakti exercise. Now, based upon the discussion, attempt this MCQ and post your answers in the comment box. Now, it's time for decoding the editorials. The editorial that we are having today is about assessing India's carbon credit trading scheme targets. Now, this topic is in the backdrop that Indian government recently announced GSG emission intensity of production targets for the entities. This topic is relevant from GS paper 3 in the economy section. Let's see about the news. The Indian government recently announced the greenhouse gas emission intensity of production targets for entities like steel plant operating within 8 of the 9 heavy industrial sectors covered in India's carbon credit trading scheme compliance mechanism. Now, the 8 sectors include aluminium, cement, paper and pulp, charcoal alkali, iron and steel, textile, petrochemicals, and petro refining. These sectors become important for you. A prelims question can be asked upon these sectors. Now, next is carbon credit trading system. What is that actually? It is a market-based mechanism to promote cost-effective greenhouse gas emission reduction across key sectors. It enables trading of the carbon credits between the entities that overachieve or underachieve their emission targets. So government is setting some emission targets for every industry. Now those industries have to achieve those targets. Some industries may overachieve them. For example, they have allocated 10 credit targets and they are achieving 15. So those 5 carbon credits can be sold to those entities which are not able to achieve their targets. So for that we have a market-based mechanism known as carbon credit trading scheme. Now it was notified in 2023 under the Energy Conservation Act of 2001. Now the sectors that are being covered, we have already discussed them: aluminium, charcoal alkali, cement, fertilizer, iron and steel, pulp and paper, petrochemicals, petroleum refinery and textiles. Now these were previously part of the performance, achieve and trade scheme. So we have two schemes. One is carbon credit trading scheme, one is PAT scheme or perform, achieve and trade scheme. Now what is the core mechanism of this CCTS? So there are basically two mechanisms. One is compliance mechanism, one is offset mechanism. Compliance means it is mandatory for the specific energy intensive sectors such as aluminium, iron, steel, fertilizer and cement to achieve it. These entities that surpass their emission reduction targets are rewarded with carbon credit certificates, while those fall short must purchase these credits. So this carbon credit certificates become important if you are overachieving the targets. If you are reducing more greenhouse gas emissions than you were given targets to, then you will be assured these carbon credit certificates. Now offset mechanism, it is open for voluntary participation from non-mandatory sectors. It allows them to earn tradable carbon credits by undertaking verifiable emission reducing activities. Next is shift from PAT to CCTS. Now PAT scheme, it focuses on improving the energy efficiency, whereas CCTS it focuses on reducing the greenhouse gas emissions and promoting carbon market. So PAT का ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या था कि जो इलेक्ट्रिसिटी आप यूज कर रहे हो, जो पावर आप यूज कर रहे हो, उसको आप रिड्यूस करो. यानी इफ यू आर यूजिंग 3-star AC, then you have to switch over to 5-star AC. The simple mechanism है कि the energy efficiency should be achieved. The focus was on energy efficiency. Whereas in CCTS, the focus is on greenhouse gas reduction. That is, greenhouse gas emission intensity reduction is there. Then focus areas, the focus was on energy intensity in PAT scheme. Here it is on global greenhouse gas emissions intensity. Then instruments used, in PAT scheme energy saving certificates were used. Here it is carbon credit certificates that will be issued for those entities which are overachieving their targets. Then unit of credit, 1 SCAT is equal to 1 ton of oil equivalent saved. 1 CCC or carbon credit certificate is equal to 1 ton of CO2 equivalent reduced. Then type of scheme, this PAT was market based energy efficiency improvement scheme. Again this is CCTS is market based carbon emission reduction and trading system scheme. Mandatory participation was from designated consumers in energy intensive sectors, that is for the PAT scheme. Here entities in energy intensive sector under compliance mechanism have been included. Then voluntary component was not applicable in this PAT scheme, whereas in CCTS the offset mechanism for entities outside compliance for voluntary reduction emission is now applicable. Sectors covered: aluminium, cement, charcoal, alkali, fertilizer, iron, steel, pulp and paper were included in the PAT scheme. In the CCTS, iron, steel, aluminium, cement, fertilizer, petroleum refineries and pulp and paper textiles were included here. The next thing is issues with the assessment in India in carbon market targets. First of all, the focus on entity or social or sector level metrics. It can be misleading. These targets primarily govern the financial transactions rather than the actual emission reduction. The focus is on financial transactions कि खरीद लेंगे credits को rather than reducing or putting efforts to reduce those emissions. Second, inadequate benchmarking is there. Comparisons are often made with historical performance under the schemes like PAT. Past modest reduction does not offer a useful reference for future decarbonization needs. So we should be having proper standards for decarbonization of our industry. Then slower economic industrial decarbonization is there. Under the schemes like CCTS are projected to decarbonize only 1.68% annually compared to the higher rates in the energy sector. This suggests a sectoral imbalance in the target ambitions. Then issues with assessment of the India's carbon market targets. Limited scope for coverage is there. The current assessment covers only a portion of India's manufacturing base. Without economy-wide modeling, it's difficult to determine whether current targets are sufficiently comprehensive. Potential misinterpretation of the PAT success. While PAT led to aggregate improvements, it is unclear if they were due to ambitious targets or just market efficiency. There is a risk of overestimating effectiveness if ambition is not separately evaluated. Then inadequate modeling and data availability is on another problem. Current assessment rely on proxy indicators which may not capture the full picture. Then emission intensity to decline. Energy sector emissions intensity is projected to decline by 3.44% annually between 2025-2030 under 2030 NDC aligned scenario. The manufacturing sector's emission intensity of value added is expected to decline by at least 2.53% annually in the same period. Industry is likely to decarbonize slower than sectors like power, which have more low-cost mitigation options. Then under CCTS, the combined average annual EVIA reduction across 8 industrial sectors is only 1.68%. This indicates that CCTS industrial targets may lack sufficient ambition compared to the broader NDC aligned trajectories. Though not fully representative of all manufacturing entities, CCTS reduction rate is best available benchmark until detailed sector-wise modeling is completed. Then ultimately ambition must be judged by aggregate emissions intensity decline and not just individual sectors targets. Then adopt an economy-wide evaluation approach. Focus on aggregate emission intensity reduction across the entire economy rather than just entity or sector level performance. Use macro level indicators aligned with India's NDC and non-zero goals. Then align targets with future climate pathways. Set and evaluate targets based on forward-looking trajectories consistent with India's 2070 net zero pathway and 2030 NDC commitments. Avoid relying solely on past performance trends for setting benchmarks. Improve sectoral modeling and data granularity. Develop detailed emission modeling for all sectors covered under the carbon market. Include better estimation of value-added emissions and growth projections to assess the larger ambition more accurately. Then regularly update and calibrate targets. Use dynamic baselines and adjust target periodically based on technological progress, economic changes, and new climate commitments. Then we have include more sectors and entities in the scope, expand coverage beyond a limited set of large industries to include more sectors and smaller enterprises for a more representative assessment. Benchmark against international best practices. Compare India's target setting and assessment framework with leading carbon markets like EU emission trading system or California cap and trade for learning and adaptation. Independent oversight and review mechanism should be there. Establish an independent evaluation body to assess the effectiveness, fairness and ambition of the carbon market targets. Then integrate with broader climate and energy policy. Align carbon market assessment with national policies on renewable energy, efficiency, green hydrogen, etc. to create cohesive mitigation strategies. Now, based upon the discussion, you can attempt this mains question, and with this we conclude for the day. Thank you.